mainly focused on
One sec, Alias.
Oh, okay.
Hey, welcome back, guys. You know, it wouldn't be us if we didn't have some technical difficulties, but welcome back,
Still
welcome back.
learning
We
the
just asked the
ropes.
guys what they're looking for in a 112 scale vehicle. Axion had mentioned customization, like realistic vehicles and stuff like that. And we've got Alias Fancast here is asking Eddie about the bad van that we're going to prototype with. So
Yep.
our bad, but we're back. And we should be good now. And it looks like we're on YouTube again, too. So say hello, everybody, again.
Yeah, we're back again.
Hello.
Sorry
So
for
go
the
ahead,
slight
Alias.
diffi-
Oh,
So,
sorry, Axel, go ahead.
So the reason why I'm asking all these questions about the van is because mainly I've been focused on your guys' motorcycle and the Bandito. And so I have a couple of questions about the van, and that one of them was the command center. I suggested the command center, and you answered that perfectly, Eddie. And
so to re-answer that, I guess, since we weren't recording just a minute ago, behind the driver's side of the van, there is in fact a little command center booth that has its own little chair that swivels 360 degrees, that then allows the character to use the minigun behind him with a sliding platform that took inspiration from the turtle vans and stuff like that when I was doing research and whatnot. But there's a command center, there's like a gun rack, there's storage, there's going to be like a little couch where two other dudes can sit in the back, ready to load out and jump out. You can take that couch out, or you can take the little gun rack out. The little command center would be removable as well, and then you can just maybe load in a motorcycle or have, I don't know, we will have additional inner kits, maybe to make it look like a little camper. That would be kind of cool, little kit that makes it look like a shaggin' wagon.
Hey, you make it like a camper and you get the flight,
a little top camper, it's a little like pop-up bed, you know what I'm saying, a little pop-up tent up top.
Yeah, that would.
But if
yeah.
you could, if you could make it so it looks like it's flying, then you could just do like an awesome scene from Spaceballs.
Yeah, you can have the big wings.
The Winnebago. That's
Lone Star.
Kits. It's all about the kits, man, and that's definitely what we are doing. And
and I would even go as far to say as we'd like to be able to take the minigun off the van and put it in the trunk of the Bandito. We would like the parts to be interchangeable as much as possible, right? Some things not going to work, but we'd like the vehicles to have interchangeable parts. What we mean by action vehicles is exactly that. We want as much moving parts and much modular stuff that works together as possible.
But you're basing that bad van on a GMC, right?
Yeah, it's based off like 80-something GMC Vandura, but I just got a note that popped up that says Axion's browser is preventing recording. Please refresh the page.
Can you maybe just he's on here. Let me look at YouTube real quick. He's on here.
Okay.
Or at least so far, YouTube has a bit of a lag, but
so to switch gears, I wanted to talk about the motorcycle. So for customization, are we going to be able to take the wheels out and
definitely
switch it to an off-road? Okay.
So for the motorcycle, for sure, it's going to be like just parts and pieces. Like we previewed, Kelly previewed something that he printed just to get familiar with 3D printing at work and what he's been playing with out there and working. But yeah, he printed one that was more solid, like the engine was solid, stuck to the frame, but where he started reworking it where the frame is the frame, and then we're gonna have like different engines, and you'd be able to swap the engines out, maybe even like down to the carburetors, and like I don't know, we'll see, add certain pedals and make it look manual or whatnot. So the being able to attach different front ends will allow for like more off-road wheels and stuff like that. So yeah, it's gonna be able to break down quite significantly, and you'll be able to add different.
I will say at this point in the design, what you will have for sure is the ability to switch out the tank, switch out the wheels, and switch out the handlebars and the seat.
Okay, perfect.
I also should clarify, Deadman pointed this out when I posted about the bike. That is not the bike that we're designing. What that is was a placeholder for me to create all the engineering. I need the parts to work. I need it to be assembled correctly so that you guys can pull it apart and switch stuff out. So part of the thing there was I designed really quick a quick placeholder for the bike so that I could work all the parts. And what I'm doing is printing them out to make sure all the tolerances are going to work correctly. It'll be soft rubber tires again, but shout out to Deadman for pointing it out, because like sometimes when you're working on stuff and you're a company, you want to put stuff out there so people can see what you're working on, or at least we do, because we kind of had to put ourselves out there early on like that. But he made a great point about keeping it professional and stuff like that. And just, if you're going to put out stuff, like take cryptic shots or something like that. But I do want to reiterate that is not the bike. We've gone so when we do the bike, it's got first of all, I know way more about motorcycles than I ever wanted to at this point, right, with designing the bike. But it's going to have, I think, what they call a double carriage frame, because that seemed like the most user-friendly when it came to swapping out parts and stuff like that. Even in real life, it looks like that was the case. So
got it.
The bike right now, the thing is, it's very expensive. And first of all, shout out to Johnny, who did a lot of the engineering for our car. He's based out of Hong Kong, and he's our engineer. And we're trying to engineer as much of the bike as possible ourselves, because it's a simpler vehicle and we can do it. But it saves us on cost if we can do a lot of the engineering ourselves. And that's mostly what that was about, me printing it out, is making sure the wheel tolerances work, making sure what I created for the assembly with the handlebars and the forks all works properly. But the bike it'll be along the lines of the Bandito as far as looks and like street bike wise, but the same things apply as far as modular customization for sure. And we want lights and everything. It's got to look like it came or is in the same line with the Bandito.
Yeah. So I wanted to suggest maybe doing a sidecar option, if that would.
Captain mentioned this. Captain to Captain. Shout out to Captain. He was the first one to come to us with that, and I was like, oh yeah, I mean, why not? If we can if all it is making some little design underneath the bike where you can clip on different.
Yeah. It sounds almost like even like a plug and play would be easy, like, a couple.
Yeah.
I will admit, some of them, like doing the research about sidecars, they're not the coolest looking thing, but some of the military ones, like the World War II stuff, is really cool looking. And
when I first reached out to you guys, I suggested the sidecar and with the option of putting the minigun on front.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I remember that now. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like an easy peasy design,
Yeah. If you look at the old Mask Piranha, that had that sidecar on it that turned into his submarine that was just 2 pegs. The Fisher Price had the motocross one for the adventure people that was just 1 peg that plugged into the side. I mean, it'd be something simple. You wouldn't want to just put a hole in the side of the engine block, and then plug it in. But you could figure something out from the bottom or whatever.
Yeah,
right? I mean,
exactly.
Well, see, that's the thing. You know what I'm saying? If we have like an engine block, right? Say the side of it has the carburetor. I don't know, something. You'd be able to pull that off, and now there's a hole, and boom, now your sidecar. Things like that. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be able to see that part of the engine with the sidecar, anyways. So now you can pull that out and plug this in, and now you have. There's always ways around things that, that you won't normally see holes and things like that you would otherwise then see.
Yeah. Oh, okay. He's back.
Okay.
So,
I have some. Oh, go ahead.
I wanted to ask if you could show the Oddfrog figure again, because when you showed it, and my screen was really fuzzy, so I couldn't see it at all.
So this is an old school one. And there's a couple things I want to point out that I like about it that will carry over into the new design that I'm working on now. But this is kind of, I wouldn't even say it's the original sculpt. But this is kind of what we're talking about with action figures. The Oddfrog green.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is basically him. Like I said, this is an older version. And really, the reason we like the idea of the soft goods is because we want to put all the detail that you don't see in there, and not have it covered up by plastic. And that way you can, again, go back to really customizing your own thing. This was sculpted with CX5 wax. There's a part of his knee there. It's like, it looks like ZBrush, the color of it, basically.
It's like a gray sculpty.
This was Adam Bean CX5 wax, which I don't think they're making anymore. But basically what I did was I took like 1/8 wire or whatever, just that you get from Home Depot, and I built the skeleton. And what's important to me is kind of the shapes and the dynamic look to things. I like that he's posed in a dynamic pose. Mm-hmm. And once we have articulation, you can do whatever you want with them. But I think it has to look cool right in the box, like jumping off, and then let people do what they want with the articulation. But again,
so
the big feet.
I wanted to ask for articulation. Are you going to do a ball peg or a ball peg articulation, or
Eddie, you want to talk about that?
We're throwing it all in there. Ball pegs, swivel joints, you know what I'm saying? We're trying to
each character is probably going to be slightly different, because it's important for us to keep the essence of the character actually in the body. We don't want to do buck bodies and stuff like that. We want you to be able to and Eddie's got a character. Our other character that we're developing right now is Jones Bones, who's dead. I mean, he's dead.
Which you could mention again and talk about, because the last podcast we talked about his origin story, and that didn't happen. So yeah.
Well, technically, he's
undead. Why don't you retell the origin story?
He's kind of our first zombie. Okay, this would be great. If you guys don't mind, I'll tell a little bit about where we're at with the comic book and what the origin stories of both characters are.
Hold on.
I just got the notice that it's not refresh or recording either. So let me go ahead and tell your story. I'm going to pop out and pop back in.
Sounds good, Axion. It looks like our YouTube is fine still, but go for it. So as I was telling these guys on this last podcast that nobody got to see, the Oddfrog comic book is an amalgam of everything that I loved growing up as a kid and everything that Eddie loved growing up as a kid. We basically just put all this stuff we loved and created a story. So you could say Oddfrog is part Spider-Man, part Frogger, part
Battletoads.
Battletoads comes up all the time. Yeah.
I mean, he has a giant frog, but
yeah.
I'd say more from your description from the last podcast. It's along the lines of I don't know if you ever saw this. It wasn't really popular, but Spider-Man Unlimited.
Was that the MTV one?
No. So Spider-Man, so it's basically Spider-Man gets sent to an alternate dimension, and the character, the High Evolutionary. He was just in the new Guardians movie. He has a counter Earth, and it's futuristic, and everyone is
so it's like a what if
part animal. Yeah, everyone's part animal, and then there's the people. Cool. Yeah, it's on Disney Plus. It's not a bad show. It just kind
What's it called?
What? I have to send Axion the new. Go ahead, guys. Yeah. I have to send him the new link.
But after your description, it sounds a lot of lines of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Frogger, Spider-Man.
Definitely some Turtles influence. I will say this though, the newer design looks more like a frog versus the old one, which was slightly more toadish. I think. I don't know if Kelly intentionally did that, or maybe that's just my personal opinion. It does look more froggy now than in 2017 when he designed that.
So continue with the origin. I want to hear it again.
Yeah, so I think it's really kind of relevant to today, actually. And I wrote the story about 6 years ago, so it's kind of interesting that it worked out that way. Let's make sure when Axion pops up, if I don't see him, Eddie, let me know.
Yeah, I think I get notifications too, so I might be able to let him in.
But it's largely the plot is largely based around an AI system that kind of goes awry, and if you might think like 2010 with HAL 9000 kind of thing. So basically what it is it's slightly in the future from where we are right now. So it's a little bit, maybe 10 years in the future. Mm-hmm. What you have is Oddfrog. His name is Oliver when he's a human. He's a nano engineer. And he's working on this product called Vitamin 1, which essentially is going to be billions and billions of little tiny nanoscopic robots that you go and put into your system. And on a molecular level, they keep you healthy. They fix your blood cells. It's like, this is kind of theorized technology, right? Mm-hmm. So he's writing this algorithm, and he works for a company that has an AI construct called Carl. I think it's computer analytical logics and reason machine or something like that. Reason and logic. I have a whole thing for it. But the computer is the building that they work in, and it's constructed or has elements of nanofibers in it. So Carl, the AI, can be kind of present throughout the building, just manifesting himself with the material of the building as a nanostructure. So let me just check on Axion here real quick. So basically what happens is the AI gets, smarter than the people in the company, and he wants to evolve, and he sees an opportunity in Oddfrog's serum to evolve himself. So he puts algorithms into the serum that evolve things. So once the serum goes out, it starts affecting everyone in this world. So what happens is Carl, the computer, turns against Oliver, Oddfrog, the engineer, injects him with his own serum. And it's kind of like the last thing he was around was this frog in a laboratory that they were manipulating and stuff. So he takes on the attributes of that DNA, so to speak. So what the nano serum does is it combines all the best elements of whatever DNA it has at its hands, because that's how Carl, the computer, is able to evolve more. So Oddfrog gets changed into this frog, and the serum goes out into the world as a product before people know that there's a problem with it, and it starts to transform people in this world. So there's a zoo in the world where there's a snake handler, there's the zoo owner. And you get the idea, right? Like the serum, the nano serum is kind of like a modern ooze. It's a little more technical, so we can dive into it a little bit. And we could literally create anything with it. Characters made out of garbage, characters made out of cars. And then the other thing is, so Oddfrog has to break back into the building once he's transformed into a frog to get his work, to get his data, so that he can try to figure out and unravel what's going on that Carl, the machine, created. Carl, the machine, once Oddfrog's in the building, is feigning that he is trying to stop Oddfrog from grabbing all this data and all this information. But what's really happening is Carl, the computer, does want Oddfrog to escape with the data, because that's how Carl gets outside of the building. Yeah. So that's basically the first story, all that stuff that happens in it. And it'll be like a 2-part graphic novel. So you'll have the first story, which we're done with, and then the second story, which is issue 2 in the same thing. So in issue 2, Oddfrog has to escape the building now. He's in there. Carl's with them. He's got his data, and he comes blasting out of the building in a very dramatic way. And once that happens, everybody goes after him, right? Everybody wants after him. Why am I not seeing Axion pop back in here?
I got to ask a question real quick. So I'm
sure.
Just checking the YouTube real quick, and I don't know if it's because Alias doesn't have a video, but I don't see anything on here.
Oh, no, he doesn't have video. It's just his voice.
So it's just the audio will be
I actually see Axion on YouTube too. So is he in here with us?
What
am I missing? It says 4 people in here too, but I don't see him. Is 3 in? Oh, here we go.
It's in the lobby.
Yeah, he's Axion. If you can hear us, I sent you a new link on Instagram that should be to this particular one because it shut off and restarted. So if you can, try to go check out that link that I sent you on Instagram. So anyways, once Oddfrog escapes the building, it's an all points bulletin. They're trying to find him. It's FBI, police, everything, right? So he
Animal
has
control.
to. Yeah.
Animal
oh
control.
God, that's good. I might steal that. So he has to steal away into this industrial area, and he ducks into a garage, right? Like the chop shop. And he's in there, and you see lights outside, and he's trying to figure out what to do. But there's this mask thing, and he pulls it back and uncovers it, and it's the Bandito.
Oh.
So he jumps in there, and there he is. Awesome. Great. We got Axion back. Fantastic.
Thanks. So.
So he blows out of the garage. This kind of classic car chase ensues. And he's got his serum in the back of the car with him, right? He just threw it in. He needs his data. What we don't know, or what we find out, is that Eddie's character, Jones Bones, who's kind of like the CIA assassin guy, was killed and assassinated and thrown into the back of the car and covered up. As Oddfrog's driving through the city with this Bandito trying to get away from everybody, stuff's jiggling around. The serum falls and goes into the trunk and basically reanimates Jones Bones' dead corpse.
Which is already rotten away, has been, rotten away for a couple weeks sitting in his trunk.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's pretty bad.
Right,
Yeah.
Kind of gnarly. But I just got another notice about Axions that can't access his device.
So I got to ask about the car chase. Does it kind of emulate the Blues Brothers, sort of, that car chase through Chicago car?
We still have to write it out, actually, I think. It's still just a work in progress. It's just a concept and idea. There's no details to the chase yet. But, hey, throwing it out there and putting it out there definitely helps us, come up.
So basically, I'm drawing out the first script right now, which has, 10 more pages of art to do with the actual dialogue script.
Yeah.
The second script I've started writing, and that's where we came up with this whole idea to introduce the Bandito. I think Captain was suggesting that again, too, like, you should bring the Bandito into the comic book, and it's kind of like a no-brainer, right? Axion, if you can hear us, I think it just wants you to refresh your browser.
Yes.
Well, I'd love to pitch some ideas if you guys have time sometime.
Absolutely. Let's talk about that in private, though, so that we can be careful with that and stuff. And actually, I'm going to send him another link right now. Or actually, he should be able to get in with the link I gave him.
Yeah, it's the same.
But the car chase, what I'd like to do with it, that's interesting with the Blues Brothers thing, because we have talked about, we do want to do a Blues Brothers style police car. We think there's a lot of opportunity for story,
which is already in development.
And so, like, you could have chase scenes, you could have the Bandito getting chased by police cars and stuff like that. And so that's an interesting aspect. And I may keep that in mind as I'm writing it out over the next 2 weeks. So
yeah, of course. And make sure to remember that animal control.
I love the animal control, because he's a frog now, and someone has to say like Bigfoot kind of, like there's a 6'2" frog walking around in my backyard.
Well, I got the kind of I don't know if you've seen this movie. It's called The Fugitive with Harrison.
By the way,
Ford.
Axion, we see you. You're back up and running. Awesome.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Well, I kind of got the idea from The Fugitive, how Tommy Lee Jones is saying like, I need you to check every outhouse. I don't know what the line is, but I just thought it'd be funny. It's like, if they're looking for the frog, he's the person who's in charge. He's like, I need police, SWAT, Army, animal control.
That is fantastic. I love that, and I'm gonna steal that. I'm just straight up telling you. I love the idea that animal control is involved. So that's we just went over the Oddfrog origin in a nutshell real quick, Axion. And he heard it last week, guys, with the failed podcast, so we should be good. But I will take this opportunity to say that one of the things we want to do here, and what we're trying to do at Oddfrog, is build story into everything. We want story into everything. It's like, I think back now, it's like nobody thought Sonic the Hedgehog was going to be a successful movie when it first came out, right? But because it had story, and because it had this meat you could bite into,
history.
You never know what can happen if you have a good story. So for us, story is paramount here. We want the Bandito to even have a story, and that's kind of where we're building it into the Oddfrog as well. So people have something to sink their teeth into. It's like everything that's great about Disney is, or was, depending on how you look at it, was that it had all this background and meat that you could buy into, and you could, you know, it's this world. They created this beautiful world, and it's all based on story. And we want to do that same thing with our action figures and our lines of toys.
That's kind of to the Mezco Rumble Society. I mean, it's its own little
that's
story,
and that's what
right?
we're going for.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Because then you have something to really sink your teeth into, and there's a reason to collect it, because hopefully it evolves and the story is there to support the character. Go ahead, Eddie.
No, yeah, it's a unique like conglomerate of like characters with all like different backstories that, you know, I guess you normally wouldn't see in the same world, but I guess in a world like this Gomez verse, you would, because it's just so unique and just strange that, you know, all these characters would go in a world like that, which is, you know, in essence what we're also trying to develop, you know, but with starting with vehicles, kind of like a base, you know, action vehicles, and then introducing characters and story behind these vehicles to have that meat and potatoes and history that you would need to, you know, progress, you know, the line and you know, keep that going forward.
Yeah, and I will say,
so I was going to ask a question about the Bandito.
Go ahead, Axion. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the one question I was going to ask earlier, and before I cut out when we started talking about the comic book, is what's the windshield going to be like?
It's a clear plastic. It's going to be clear plastic. You can slide it in, slide it out. It has two.
It's going to be.
You want to show it, Eddie?
I can grab it. I mean,
yeah.
So the front windshield.
There, I'll grab it for you. Stay there. I got it.
There's a couple of notches in the front. Oh, couple of notches in the front of the car there. You see?
Don't pull it, Kelly.
Okay.
And then you essentially slide it in, and it kind of with the paint. You know, we have to adjust some of the tolerances to allow for paint, but yeah, you know, you essentially slide it in here, and it attaches with, you know, a little bit more, pushing it down, a little bit more pressure. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a clear plastic, its own 3D. Not this one's 3D. I don't know, actually. This might be casted resin, but yeah.
I was just wondering if it was going to be one piece like a lot of those vehicles have, you know, where it's clear on the front, goes over the roof, and then down the back out the wind for the back windshield, right?
It's going to be.
So you guys are doing separate pieces.
Oh yeah, for sure. Front, back windshield. We have the little side mirrors to go. Yeah, we have two little mirrors. One, I mean, not mirrors. You know, glass that goes here, and then one that goes here. Yeah. So we have them all separate pieces. That's why it's considered definitely more like a model kit, you know, because we have more pieces than your average. Yeah, look, and he brought me like the door panel. So some of these details, it's a little dusty, but yeah, we're working on some of the details. But you know what I'm saying? It has like your little full wood top, your handle. Like this can be a little bit bigger, or even the smaller details like that door handle. You see like that old school window device. You know, essentially right there, it wouldn't quite function because it would hit that door handle. So, you know, those are things we kind of overlook, but, you know, making those little details a little bigger and obviously sliding it over because it wouldn't fit. Yeah. But yeah.
Well, the ability to swap out panels hopefully later too. Like the inner door panels.
Yeah.
That's the wrong side.
The window crank. That's what that device is called, Eddie.
Right, I know. I mean, I use them, but people, I know it's called a window. I know what it is. No, I definitely use them. Yeah, I was born in the 80s. Come on, give me some credit.
But yeah, the other cool thing about that Axion is it'd be fun with all the wacky kits that we want to do and kind of over the top stuff that we have coming down the line is to have different colored windows. I mean, it's you know, if you just change out the plastic for different color.
Or even not a window. Imagine this piece being like, you know, it's metal and it has like metal grates and it's like, you know, bulletproof.
Yeah,
and, you know
very
Mad
like, Max.
Boom, and then you slide that in, and now it's your car looks completely different. And yeah, those are ideas we've been working on and have various 3D models of that. We just haven't really got to. But
yeah, it's armor on the windows like Thomas Jane's Punisher car would be awesome.
I was just gonna say the Thomas Jane car. Yeah. Didn't he have like a little notch above the roof, and he would slide it down, and then he would slide one up?
Yeah, it was like a metal grate.
Side doors.
That sounds cool. Like,
guys, real quick, we've got Largo's Lair in the YouTube, and he's saying a couple of things. So I just want to acknowledge that he's here, and he says, "Greetings. I need that van in my collection. Axion is making mischief." And Oddfrog looking good, warts and swagger. The warts are super important. Like, I need that detail to be on him. It's part of his character. And then warts he says, Carl the computer is Skynet's cousin, ? And I just responded to him that it's very similar to that, and then HAL 9000 or whatever. So that's great. Thank you, Largo's Lair, for popping in and being part of the show.
Comments, yeah.
You guys want to check out some good YouTube? Check out Largo's Lair's channel. He's got some good stuff up there for Valaverse. He has a couple podcasts that he calls the Infinite Playlist, where he just talks about other YouTubers and their music. It's
dope.
He's on a hiatus right now.
Great.
He's in another country that's having a heat wave, so they're having their rolling brownouts and stuff. So his internet isn't exactly,
Is it California?
Quality, but
no, I'm just kidding.
No, not that foreign of a country.
They call them rolling brownouts, aren't they?
That's fantastic.
Well, they're blackouts, brownouts, whatever.
Right? Oh my God. How do you guys feel? And this may sound like an odd question, but I've never been a big fan, and I want to get your opinion. How do you guys feel about sound effects in vehicles or in toys, period? Like, Axion and I were born in the 70s, and it's like, when those things started coming out, I thought they were so cheap, and it's like, I was proud of my sound effects and, how I made my own sound effects. But what do you think about that?
I say no.
Well,
to
I
the
can
sound
tell
effects.
you. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I don't.
You go first.
I mean, if they're there, I probably never use them. So I mean, if you put the speaker in there and the buttons to push, I never use them. I mean, when I got some toys back in the day, little flipper inside the so it went as you rolled it. I always cut those things out because I couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
We got really good at making motor noises as kids. That's the fun part about it.
That's what I'm saying. I was proud of my laser noises and my gunfire noises. It's like I don't want all that in there.
You got the General Lee and you're on a dirt road and you can still squeal the tires on dirt. I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Alias.
Well, yeah, those were never really kind of appealing to me because they wear out so fast. If you keep playing with them, you keep pressing the button, they will start to wear out. The batteries, the constant changing of the batteries. I am kind of past that. I wouldn't like that, but if you guys put one in,
we do have batteries only for lights, though.
We're not doing the sound effects.
Absolutely not. It's kind of why I asked because I see it coming up with other stuff, and it's like I never liked that stuff. I thought it basically what it does is it takes a nice product and makes it sound cheap, and I never really liked it. And
I think the ramen racer.
Again, I don't know what the use of it is. If we're trying to go for like photography and stuff, what is the use of the sound for photography or display purposes? Somebody comes over and you're like, "Yo, check this out," and then you're gonna go push the sounds. I mean, I guess that's only the time you'll be using it, really.
Yeah.
Same with the lights, I guess, to a certain extent. But in photography, you'll be able to use those lights instead of having to Photoshop them in and stuff like that.
I think the worst part about those sound effects is some of them were really good. Like if you did press them, they're like, "Oh yeah, I can hear this vehicle making that noise." And then there are some that made no sense at all. Yeah. Like I remember, I don't know what it was, but it was a helicopter, and you press this button, and it did not sound like a helicopter. It sounded like a speedboat.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's part of the reason I asked.
Muscle cars have actual electronic sounds on them now too, and that's just ridiculous, right? I mean, like there's actually full size Dodge Challengers and stuff that have, you know,
they have a little noise to make it go faster.
Yeah, and it's part of the reason I asked is because I knew, you know, we know Ramon's doing it, and it's if it's done right, it can be really cool. But I'm just like, God, I'm not interested in sound effects. I'm just not.
Well, even his is really just a idle sound, right? You know, it's really just a sound for the car to sit there when it's idling, and then, you know, a little bit of a rev up, right? And that's like Eddie said.
And then it randomly
you push it, show it off a little bit. You know, maybe you get a 5-second YouTube short out of it. That's, you know, that's about it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, let me ask you guys another question. And what kind of gear do you use for your photography? Like Axion, is there any special stuff you use? Do you do 4K? Do you have lenses? Do you use your phone? I mean, the phones are so amazing now. It's like you almost don't need anything. But I'm just curious because Eddie dabbles in toy photography. I really don't, just because I want to stay focused on what we're doing. But I'm curious about, like, could you give any tips about what kind of gear you like to use to other photographers?
Yeah, I use a really cheap Walmart Samsung phone, and then I have a Canon TI5, which is, you know, older than dirt now. And my theory on this, right? It's the phone is a lot more convenient, especially I do a lot of outdoor shots, so it's easier just to have my phone in my pocket. And, you know, it really comes down to the setup and then just getting the right angle, right? If you're going to take a picture and tell a story with it, you can't just stand the guy in a vanilla pose, right? So you could have the best camera in the world, the best lighting in the world, if you're not going to do anything dynamic with the picture. I mean, like, it's just, you know. And then of course I do a lot of diodes, right? I mean, so that helps. And
do you build your own?
Yeah. Like I mean, this one behind me I built about 10 years ago.
Oh wow. God, it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, let me get the camera the right way.
Dang, nice weathering and stuff. That's really cool.
That carving,
it's got all Egyptian runes on it and stuff. This one I built with a friend of mine. It took me about 6 months.
Yeah.
Is that like styrofoam?
Yeah, that's all
that pink foam from Home Depot, huh?
Oh, foam board. Oh yeah.
I get mine from Lowe's. Home Depot's too far away from me. I live out in the middle of nowhere.
Same diff, but yeah, that's the insulation foam.
I contracted with Lowe's for a couple of years. And then Alias, same question for you. How deep do you dive into toy photography, and do you have any tips for anybody? Like, do you use anything special?
Well, I'm self-conscious about my photos. I don't really post anything, you know.
We're artists. Kind of we know exactly what you're talking about.
It's conscious about all your art. There are people out there that say, "Oh yeah, just post your art, man. You know, we'll support you." And then there are those people out there who like to push your buttons.
There always will be, man.
Oh
yeah.
This is what I tell people, Alias. I'll tell you my soapbox speech, right? When you start posting pictures on Instagram and you start doing YouTube and stuff like that, you do it for yourself. And don't worry about the likes, don't worry about the follows. They'll come. Trust me, they'll come.
Yeah.
I mean, my first Instagram toy post was, you know, something I just took on the floor outside or something. It was nothing serious, and you know, you just got to go with it. I mean, I started taking pictures of toys when I was a kid, right? I mean, I had the old 110 camera with the flash cubes. Everybody laughs, but that's how I started.
Then you had to take the camera and you go click, and you drop off the camera at the store.
Yeah, you got to drop off the whole film roll, you know. But I mean,
the whole camera.
I don't care if people like the picture or not, because I'm doing what I want to do. I'm doing it for myself, and I'm doing it for my own enjoyment, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you worry too much about what everybody else is going to think about it, then you're never going to get anything done.
Yeah.
And mainly, I just don't have the time. I'm working a job right now, but I use my phone, and then I use a phone, just an iPhone, and then I did have a diorama. I just moved into a new place. I had a diorama. It was a cantina bar from Star Wars. I 3D printed everything. I got the files from God, I don't know who. He's
printed it in 1/12 scale.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know who made the files. I know he has a Patreon. I'm pretty sure everyone knows who he is because he's pretty popular.
Is it like an interior cantina or exterior?
Interior.
Cool.
It's like the whole thing.
I have the booth, the entryway, the bar, the piping. Yeah, it took a long time to print. But
yeah, I bet it did.
But once it comes out and you just have your figure behind the bar, you're just like,
oh yeah.
You start hearing the band, and you're just like, do 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 do. Yeah, but yeah, that's all. That's my extent of photography for toys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, dioramas
Guys, I want to go back to YouTube real quick. We've got a lot of people chiming in, and I just want to. So Largos Layer says, "Gracias. Enjoy what you're all putting together." Thank you, Largos. He says, "Lights are great, but I can make my own sound effects." 100% agree. Then we've got Alpha Proto chiming in. He says, "Sound effects is cool, but it's a novelty. If it ups the price, then it's not worth it." Exactly. It takes a good product and makes it cheap. I mean, I couldn't agree more. And then our favorite person, Clanable, chimes in and says, "Hi." Alpha Proto says, "It's just to get a smile out of people. I have an anniversary Optimus Prime with a base with different phrases from the Transformer movies," which that's cool, right? Because it comes from the movie. So I get that. He says, "I use different lights, mostly phone, because the voice shutter, when I press a screen or camera, it moves the camera. So the voice shutter is a lifesaver." Yeah. Clanable says, "Right now, camera phone is good." And this is great about Clanable. He's always helping us with like little details and stuff. Amazing work. Nice diorama, he says, Axion. Alpha Proto says, "I have a DSLR with a remote, but the remote has to be set up each shot." Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's weird too. "I post my photos on a dedicated Instagram." Dang, that's a huge 3D print for a dio. Yeah.
That'd be one way to go about it.
Hey, guys, thank you for chiming in. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alias, create another account. Nobody knows who you are, what it is, and just post pictures, man. Doesn't matter. Don't let it bother you. If you want to put it out, put it out. If you don't. Keep doing what you gotta do.
The people that are going to hate are going to hate, so you just ignore them, right? Delete the comment.
Trust me, man. We've been getting them hates in the DMs and the comments, and I kind of feed off of it.
You never even know when they're just bots at the same time. You know what I mean, too? And what I would say, Alias, is like, you got to just let it go, and you can learn from it, too. I mean, there's going to be people out there that just troll, but like, we took a lot of slings and arrows and still do sometimes because of our involvement with the 112 Garage, who just one more time stiffed us on about $10,000 of design work. So, and you know, it hurts, it stings, but you can also learn from it. And you can kind of, if you're open to it, you can learn from it and you can kind of shift what you do a little bit. So just another shout out to Deadman One, who the other day, he's like, "Come on, guys." When I posted the motorcycle, he's like, "You guys want to be pro? You can't be posting shit." And so, and you know, it stings a little bit, but it's also the community, and it's the face you don't see of yourself when you're trying to put stuff out there. So you can. It's
also a little different for you guys, though, Kelly, because you're a business, right? So you're gonna have to take the lumps, right? But like, if you look at a lot of people's beginning on Instagram, I mean, they went under some alias account like mine, right? Action Fig started out as just some way to, you know, not have any personal stuff on there. I mean, it wasn't until just probably the last 6 months I started, you know, once in a while posting a picture of my face on there, right? I mean, started doing some YouTube podcasts and stuff. I mean, for a long time, no one knew who I was. No one knew anything about me other than the fact that I had an Instagram account with action figure pictures on it, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, then you ain't got to worry about the hate, right? You just roll it off your shoulder. If someone has a good comment, you read it, take note of it, and the rest of them, you just let it go.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I do have to say, once I get a look at that, you know, the Bandito, I will be posting pictures for sure.
Well, we sure hope so. That's what we want, is we want collectors and customizers to put it in their pictures, because the idea is that it'll be different. At least after people start customizing it, it'll be different in every shot, and that's when it really comes alive and becomes the product that we designed.
I just started 6-foot by 3-foot dial that's going to be a dirt country road just for the Bandito.
Oh God, that's precious. That's so awesome.
That sounds so.
Yeah, and I mean,
well, I already have an idea for a really funny picture. It's I don't know if you guys collect those 1/12 Indiana Jones figures.
I saw them. I think
My
they're
son
like
collects them.
Hasbro or.
Yeah, I want to take a picture of Indy in the passenger seat and short round driving, and him, Indy holding a beer, and have some police lights in the background saying, "If I get pulled over for another DUI again, I'm gonna be screwed. Short round, you take the blame."
Make sure you get some blocks on short round's feet too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We have that police vehicle coming, so hey, pretty soon maybe. Depending on how
the bad
well
van
we do.
first. The bad van's got to come next, and with any luck, we'll be printing that out over the next 2 weeks. It's very big. I mean, the Bandito is 19 and a half, 20 inches long, so they're big and they're not cheap. But now that I've got this, see, the great thing, guys, about the position that I started at the college that me and Eddie went to is it puts me right in the rapid prototyping department. And they're like, use the equipment. The better you know the equipment, the better you can help the students understand it. And so it's like I could work at home on all this stuff, or I could go work at the college where we have all this equipment to just try stuff and do stuff, and they want us to use it.
It's
so
encouraged.
We don't have to pay $7,000 for a prototype this time and have it shipped from China for $1,000.
Just pay the material at
all
cost.
That stuff slows things down. So, the more immediate we can get our hands on it and stuff, the better it is. So, let me flash back over here to YouTube and see what's going on real quick.
Sure.
Dedicated Instagram. Clanable says, just do what you feel. Happy. Your money, your energy. Who cares? Do it for yourself. My IG, Facebook, YouTube is the things I keep to watch when I'm retired. And that's such a great point. I think of it like that too. It's almost like your portfolio, right? And it's like, who cares what they think? And it's so true what you said. I've been calling you Axion just because of the spelling, but it's action figs. Okay. It's so true what you say.
I can tell you that there was I was on one of the podcasts. I can't remember. Maybe it was Hello Dope Toys podcast on Sunday night a couple weeks ago. Well, a couple months ago now, actually. And they're like, how do you say your name? So Laser Pants from the 3POA started calling it Axion. So now it's like this joke that it's action like French, action.
Yeah. So I like that.
I'm really sophisticated. And really, I just wanted to spell action a little different,
That's fantastic. And then Alpha Proto says, these cars are a must-have for city scenes, making things look lived in. Absolutely. And that's part of the reason we went with the 70s style Chevelle. It's so versatile and it looks real. It looks like your neighbor could have it or you have it in your garage. And after that, you can further make it look like that. Yeah. I've got a couple more questions for you guys, and we've stolen so much of your time today and last week. So
go for it, man.
You guys are good. We're good. I mean,
this is no hurry.
Okay, awesome. And are you good, Alias?
I think he disappeared.
Oh, he did?
He might have got kicked out.
He should be able to pop back in with that second link. You know what? Let me send him a link again real quick too, guys. Hold on 1 second. We're doing pretty good without Mikey, the producer here, I would say. So
I think you're holding down the fort quite well.
Awesome.
I think most of the issues are actually our own internet and stuff. My Wi-Fi reset when I got booted off there earlier. It's like,
oh wow, okay.
Yeah. And then half of the show we weren't even recording, so that's
well, I think it was only about 10 minutes, but
it was a little more than that.
Was it more, Eddie?
I think it was like 20-minute, 30-minute conversation we had.
It's all good.
Yeah, Mikey already said he'll put it together for us later today, so we'll get it up here on.
Is there a reason you guys use Riverside?
Aliases.
Mostly because Mikey would be the one that answers that question better. I'm kind of not necessarily happy with it, actually, but like when we lost your video last week, I was so irritated with it. But not really. It's just it seemed to be cost effective, first of all, and I think it was the live stuff for the price. It was just kind of a happy medium that we found at the time. I'm not necessarily in love with it at this point, but
I use StreamYard. I use StreamYard for ours. Yeah, StreamYard's really good. Down. It's like for the upgraded version, which is up to 10 people live, 50 hours a month.
Oh, wow.
And recorded, it's like $20 a month, I think.
Oh yeah, and that's what we're paying. So that's
look into that.
That's right there.
Yeah.
I am back.
And they have a free version, so if you wanted to try a free version out, you could try it out, see if it works. Free version is just limited, right?
Yeah, exactly. And Riverside has. I will say about Riverside, the thing that happens is sometimes it just dumps some of our stuff. I will say, when I've ever called them, their customer service is gold.
Yeah,
like they're really nice people. They jump right on your problem, and so I do salute them for that. I feel like maybe the product itself is not like fully there or whatever. So
yeah,
I wrote down StreamYard. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah. All right, next question.
Okay, next question. Here we go.
Kelly came prepared. He had to write them down this week.
He got notes.
It was so bad last week. I'm like, I better have something going on.
Are we going to do another one, or we're going to have to redo this one? Because I keep
no. This
out.
is fine.
Good.
Nope. Mikey will splice this together for us. The two shows. It'll be as seamless as possible.
Well, I would love to come back on the show.
We will have you guys back on the show for sure.
Thank you.
For sure. I want to get a couple other guests in. I'd love to have on Captain to Captain, who suggested that we went live with this. So I want to have him on. I want to have Clanable. I want to have other people. Anybody who's willing to come on with us, we want to do. But I definitely want to revisit this with you guys because this is fantastic. I think we touched on this a little bit. What was your favorite toy growing up? So I'm going to skip that one. What was your favorite Saturday morning cartoon? And maybe this is more geared towards me and Axion because we grew up with Saturday morning cartoons. But what was your favorite Saturday morning cartoon that you looked forward to and had to be there with your cereal and just sitting there and watching it?
Oh, man. We had so many of them. I guess for me, it was really, when I was young, it was really any of the Hanna-Barbera superhero ones, Space Ghost, Herculoids, Teen Force, all those superhero based, Hanna-Barbera cartoons. Those were my jam, right? I mean, I got up extra early, and I was a big Looney Tunes fan, Scooby-Doo, but mostly the superheroes from Hanna-Barbera, which were just.
Well, if you're Marine Corps, like Bugs Bunny was basically their mascot during World War II. The Marines used to watch the Bugs Bunny. Like my grandfather just loved Bugs Bunny, and he's like, "That's the Marine Corps mascot." We watched that on the ships going to Guadalcanal.
You can watch some of those old World War II time frame Looney Tunes, and they're pretty bizarre. I mean, like showing them
the gremlins and their diabolical sabotage.
Showing them killing like actual Nazis and stuff. I was like, holy shit.
Absolutely. Yeah. Or like Elmer Fudd putting the oil over the water to kill the mosquitoes and stuff.
This is like propaganda that they showed in theaters too, man.
Oh, it was totally propaganda. Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then you look at Walt Disney, and I don't know if you guys seen the clip of Donald Duck doing the salute. I don't want to say it on live, but
like the other salute.
Yeah, that.
Right.
Like the same salute Hydra does.
Yeah, right. Hydra. The Hydra salute. That's better. It's just this weird parallel. Like Looney Tunes was for America, and then you look over at Disney, and Disney's like, "Hail Hydra," just sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I know Disney did some. Gosh, they were like, I think it was South America kind of stuff, but it was similar kind of promotional propaganda stuff. I mean, at that time too, I'm a huge lover of American history, and I feel like what happens is when people look at history, they look at it as if it's right now, only a long time ago, and there's so many different circumstances and stuff like that that go into it. But yeah,
I get frustrated when I hear about people like talking about like how books should be banned, that were written because they have one word in them. I'm like, well, that's how people talked back then, right? Wrong or right? Exactly. That's how they talked, right? It's period, right?
Yeah.
The period piece.
Yeah.
And it's history. It's a big chunk of history. I remember
It's real. It's real. If you don't like it, you still have to face it, you know?
Yeah.
And again, learn from it if that's the case.
Yep.
Well, I grew up right during that time where people were talking about banning books. And I remember a bunch of families at my school, they were really upset about how we were reading Huckleberry Finn.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one of the, I'm trying to remember how it went, but either way, just banning books, it's, it was different back then.
Yeah.
Most of the books nowadays are edited, so most of that stuff's gone anyway, and they still want to ban them just because it was in the original one. So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, times change, things change, but we're here to.
Well, things change for the better.
Well, I would also say to that, if you actually know anything about Mark Twain, he was very anti-racism and racist. His whole thing was the dialects between the different Southern areas that he was exploring. But if we got the privilege, my aunt took us to see Val Kilmer do his live presentation in old Pasadena here of Mark Twain. And he was such a complex character, but racist is not what I would call him.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So it's all context and how people take it. And I mean, everybody today is so sensitive. It's just, crazy. You can't say anything.
Yeah. So just to get back to that question about my favorite cartoon,
yes.
I was a huge fan of the 1990s animated Spider-Man with the kick-ass theme. That guitar solo, God, just
spider blood, radioactive spider blood.
I know, it gets me every time I hear it. I'm just like, oh God, that was such a good show. Mark Hamill as the Hobgoblin.
Yep.
Who else was on that show? And then close, second, was because I discovered the animated series Batman later.
Yeah.
Because when I was young, I was a really big Marvel fan, mm-hmm. and then I started reading the comics, and I wasn't really a fan of the comics. And then I got reading the Batman and the DC comics, and I fell in love instantly. Mm-hmm. And I started watching that cartoon, and it is the perfect blend of adult and child animation.
Yeah.
And we were talking about it, me and Kelly, we're talking about the Clayface two-parter episode and the episode with Tim Drake falling in love with that construct of Clayface.
I mean, the animation in those two Clayface episodes, and then the one later with Tim Drake, for television, it's unbelievably good. It's unbelievably good.
Mm-hmm.
And I totally agree with you with the Spider-Man. I still watch it regularly. I've probably been through the entire whatever amount of seasons, and it's crazy because there's 70 episodes per season or whatever, but I've watched them all 15 times.
Yeah. You have to admit, some of the acting was a little hammy. I've seen people make fun of
but that's kind of the love of it too,
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be innocent and fun, I think.
Mm-hmm. And then you look at the animated series, Batman. It's just, God.
Oh, the Art Deco.
It's just a step up. And then I loved Justice League Unlimited. One of my favorite characters is Atom Smasher. I'm a big fan of that character. I love how he represents the Jewish community, same as Moon Knight. I really feel like that's what I was really upset about with Moon Knight, the TV show, was they didn't, because if you read the comic books, he talks about his religion a lot, and he grew up in New York, and he was picked on constantly for being Jewish, and his father, who was a rabbi, told him, do not sink low into violence, and then for him to become a mercenary is kind of ironic.
Which is like a Jewish proverb kind of thing, I think, too, to that saying. And it's the same thing with Nightcrawler, who's Catholic. I was raised Catholic, and it's part of who he is. I mean, it's part of what makes him.
Disney's not going to put anything that's questionably close to
no
anything that's going to be offensive to anybody on any other show.
And before people start jumping up on me, I like Oliver Isaac as an actor. I really do, but for him to be cast as Moon Knight was a horrible decision. I really did not believe him at all. You know, if you read like I keep going back to the books are phenomenal. If you were displeased with Moon Knight, then you should read the books, and how he constantly has to juggle his mental illness.
Oh, there he went again.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, it's too bad that we can't kind of talk about all these shared experiences. I mean, America is a melting pot. We always have been. This is why I don't understand the big freak out today. It's like coexist. That's what we've been doing for 200 years, you know? So for me, it's a shame we can't express who we are through our characters and through our stories and stuff like that. You know, I
got
hope
kicked
all this
out.
will go away someday. You know what I mean? We didn't kick you out on purpose, Alias. I promise.
Okay.
But,
back to what I was saying,
you know, just
what about you, Eddie? Getting back to that question.
What about me? My favorite character, my favorite cartoons.
Oh, you're good, Alias. Sorry, bud.
I was a big fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's what I grew up watching. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I also watched Darkwing Duck, and there was one, the Mighty Ducks. Did you guys ever see it? It didn't run that many years, but there was like a Mighty Ducks cartoon.
Yeah, where there were
like
ducks,
actual ducks, and they had like these. They became
that was
like
when Disney had
Disney
had their Disney Channel and had the cartoons on there. That's when that was on.
Yeah, I love Darkwing Duck. Darkwing Duck.
Yeah, Darkwing Duck was awesome.
Cool,
yeah.
Oh man, DuckTales. Disney owned my afternoon. I ran home from school.
I don't know if you guys watched the Tick, the animated.
Tick.
I used to watch
Genius.
Those were like
Genius.
Definitely.
Spoon.
All right, guys, real quick, we've got some a couple more YouTube, and I just want to go back to these a little bit because these guys have been so great. And then we'll wrap it up here in the next 10 minutes or so, guys.
All right, no problem.
Largo's Lair says StreamYard has been reliable platform. Okay, I wrote that down, Largo's. I'm going to check that out. Alpha Proto says Looney Tunes still crack me up. Absolutely. Challenge of the Super Friends and Thundar the Barbarian. Yeah. That's a Jack Kirby creation. I can't.
Thundar was one of those. Thundar was one of those I include right in the Hanna-Barbera superheroes.
Yeah, absolutely. It was so good.
Yeah.
And, you know, back then, if you missed the episode, it's like, that was it. You
I know, right?
See it and watch it again.
And then he says, that thing made Mark Twain's writing famous was he wrote things the way people actually said them. That's exactly, he was interested in the dialects, and exactly right, Alpha Proto. Yet Marvel was really making an effort to get Marvel characters into mainstream with the 90s cartoons, a good introduction to the characters and old stories. And that's the thing I loved about Spider-Man 2 is like, it was pretty much verbatim some of the early action Amazing Spider-Man comic stories.
Yeah.
Yep, the best episode of Batman animated series were animated in Japan by TMS Entertainment. You could tell when they animated an episode because they put a dip in Batman's lip. That is fascinating, and I did not know that. Wow, that's really interesting. And then he says, those cartoons did a great job making me want the toys. Good way to tell my own stories as a kid. Absolutely. And Largo says the Tick was great.
Speaking of more cartoons, Exo Squad, the Gargoyles.
That's Eddie's. That's
my jam. I started making my own JT Marsh, who was like, you know, the leader of what's the squad? I don't remember right now, but yeah, they had their own squad. And Exo Squad, I lived off that, man. That thing was pretty dope. Like the mechs, the story was good. It was well before its time. So
yeah,
I'm sure that's why then. But a remake of that right now, I think maybe, I don't know, a movie or something. It's well overdue. Like when I started making this figure, I actually got the attention of what's his name?
The creator.
The creator of it. His name is Jeff Siegel, who created Exo Squad. I was posting in a Facebook group who like it's not that big, but you know there's a community of Exo Squad fans who grew up in the early 80s and 90s, and there's a group on Facebook, and somehow he was part of it, and I started posting these progress shots on this figure, and he actually liked it, and it was kind of cool, and I tried to talk to him about it, like maybe producing a figure, but I think from what I gathered from that group, there was something going on with the license currently, so he wasn't even able to really talk to me about it. But he did like the pictures. He was like, he liked them. He said they look cool. He was a fan of it. But as far as talking of producing a figure or maybe relaunching something and allowing Oddfrog Entertainment to produce the figures, he wasn't able to, say anything. So, but that's it was pretty cool, man.
They just what is it? Encel or whatever just relaunched Biker Mice from Mars.
They did, I saw that. The toy and the cell company, I saw that.
Yeah,
and they look very much like the ones that came out in the early '90s. Which
and then next
I would have gone with a more updated version, though.
Oh, nice.
But I get the nostalgic feeling. But updated 1/12 scale, more articulated. Freaking rat mice dudes would be freaking rad, dude. Like rad.
Guys, I think we're going to ask one more question of you both, and we'll wrap it up because you've been so kind to sit here with us this entire time. For the second time, we've had a couple guests in the past, and guys, if you haven't checked out our Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles writers and artists episode, we've got Paul Castiglia and his name is escaping me right now, but they worked on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures comics for Archie Comics, and Paul is our colleague. It's a great episode, but we ask all our guests this question. If you were a superhero, what would your superpower be? And we'll start with Axion, and then we'll go to you, Alias. And if you need a second, take your time.
Well, my adult male mind goes to invisibility, but that's probably not something we put out there on YouTube.
Oh, it's out.
It's okay. We put not for children on it. All
right,
of our
videos,
good.
So. If I had a superpower, what one would I choose? I would probably either go with super speed or flight. One of those two.
Okay.
Just because I hate traveling, I like to walk. But if I could walk faster, it'd be great. So
I'm with you on that one.
Well, wouldn't you be worried about your super metabolism? Wouldn't you be like spending thousands of dollars on food and stuff?
Now you're breaking it
and
down
shoes.
now.
And the shoes, God, you'd be burning through shoes like every week.
I'd get special ones made out of like car tread.
Yeah.
If flying was like going to the gym, I suppose you would be like starving all the time.
Yeah.
Well, and like you'd be cold. Like, I don't know if you guys seen Chronicle, that movie about those kids who get telekinesis in Seattle. And they fly around, but they have to wear like down coats and hats and mittens.
Yeah.
That's obviously cold.
Yeah, I lived in Seattle for 10 years.
That's where I live right now. It's cold all the time. It's either raining or it's cold or it's muggy.
Yeah.
I was never really sunny.
No, I was there from 97 to 2007. And I know that during that time they had one instance where it rained like 90 days in a row, and it's just like, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But I was glad to come back to sunny California. So and then Alias, what would your superpower be?
Well, it wouldn't be a superpower; it would be a super object. I don't know if you guys. Well, of course, you've seen The Mask, right?
Oh yeah,
I would have the mask. I would wear that mask. If you read the books, the wearer can wear the mask as long as he wants. I just wear that mask every day, every week, and just cause mischief and mayhem as much as I could.
Would you walk around with that banana yellow suit too?
Yeah, no, it would be like stripes. I think stripes look better for me.
The banana yellow with the Bandito lowrider. I think you're talking.
Okay, never mind. Yeah, I'll go yellow then.
All right, let's guys. We're gonna wrap this up with just a couple more comments from YouTube. Exo Squad is past due for a revival, says Largo's Lair.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm telling you.
Those new biker mice don't look like they sit on bikes.
They don't, but they're doing. They included alternate. They included alternate heads now. They didn't have helmeted heads. Now they will. So who knows? They're also taking suggestions. And,
they're coming out with bikes next year for them. So I don't know if how they're gonna work that. So
yeah, see, because they do look real stiff. They look like very limited articulated points.
Yeah, they don't look like they have swing out hips or anything. So
yeah, exactly.
It might be that they just have to design like a lock-in kind of seat,
slide-in bike, maybe.
Yeah. And then Alpha Proto's superpower would be super luck, like Domino or Long Shot.
Super luck.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah, Long Shot's awesome. What a great character.
Doesn't he have like 3 fingers on his hands?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I wasn't imagining that. Okay.
Well, listen.
On that note,
guys, we're gonna go ahead and call it here for the Oddfrog Chop Shop. But Alias Fancast, Axie and Figs. I'm just gonna call you Axie and Figs because it's harder for me now.
Everybody else does.
Go Action.
Yeah. You guys have been absolutely wonderful. We appreciate you doing this. Guys, they came back and did it again this week. So it's like, we just appreciate you guys so much. And Axion, thank you for your service as well. And Alias, guys, what can I say? Thank you so much for coming on here.
Well, I'd love
to. Good time. Thank you.
We want to have you guys come back. We will have. Give us like a month or two to see if we can get some other guests come on, and we gotta get this Bandito back.
Yeah, we'll
together
get the van rolling too.
But we would love to have you guys come
whatever
back
I can do to help. I want this project to succeed. I want this to be moving forward. I want this to be, catching steam. And
we appreciate the good vibes. That definitely helps. It's what we're living off right now. Good vibes, good energy, and positive thoughts. So. It's been carrying us so far to this point. So yeah, we're gonna continue that and keep sharing, keep liking, keep.
It means the world. Means the world to us to hear that, you guys. And it's our responsibility to keep this thing going. And it's like right now, the main focus is getting it out to YouTubers. Yeah, I'd like to contact that tattoo guy. I haven't even reached out to him yet. So if you're listening, bro, I want to reach out to you. Because he's in Irvine. He's really close to us. We could drive it there and leave it with him for a couple days, which is like, if we don't have to ship it, we don't have that 2 weeks downtime.
Yeah.
We could get it to a couple guys local and have them film it. And then we can start shipping it out. Then hopefully we can get it to Ninja, who's been super busy and stuff. So, and the thing with Ninja is, I think what his thing was, he doesn't want to put vehicles in competition with each other, and he just did Valaverse. So we're just going to wait our turn, and hopefully we can still get on send him one too. So that's our main goal right now. Is we've kind of proved proof of function that we can switch the parts out. We've built the lowrider. We got to get it back together and get it out to people. That's our main focus right now. So, guys. Thank you so much. We appreciate you guys. Axion, thank you. Alias, thank you so much. And guys, like and follow Alias Fancast, like and follow Axion Figs, and we'll see y'all next time. And thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe, guys. Like and subscribe.
Hasta luego.
Bye, guys. Now, guys, hold on real quick while it uploads after I shut off the recording, and we should be good. And Mikey will edit this out for us.